Hi folks, welcome back to my garden. It is Saturday, May 28th, which is week 12 of my gardening adventure. And I am here in Boston, Massachusetts on a gloriously warm and sunny day, though it might be a little bit too warm. It's probably 87 degrees out and it is still May, so that's a little much, but it is also Memorial Day weekend, so happy Memorial Day weekend to those of you who celebrate it. And I believe it's actually bank holiday in other places around the world, so I think a lot of people are going to have their Monday off. So that's very exciting. So a lot has happened over this past week, and I have filmed some of it for you, so I'll show you that stuff first, and then I will be bothered by a cat, because, you know, that's my prerogative. I don't think you've met this one yet. I won't pick her up because she's weird and will screech and try to kill me if I do that. But anyways, back to the garden. So I'll show you the stuff I did this past week, and then I'll take you on a mini tour to show you some of the flowers that have opened up and some of my plants that have been growing. Very exciting. So take it away, Daphne from the past. I was noticing that all my beets and my spinach plants were coming up with this brownish, wilty looking stuff, yellowy brown stuff, and so I looked it up and I discovered that it is actually Leafminer. The way you can tell is that on the back of the leaf you'll see tiny little white eggs, and if the leaves turn mottled like this, they're too far gone, so I've been taking all those off. But the ones that don't have the damage on them, if you just rub off the eggs, that should be enough. Another thing you can do, which is what I'm going to do with the beets, is put on this stuff. It's an organic pesticide using spinosad. I've been using this on blueberries and the gooseberries and the roses to keep them protected from the winter moth, but now I'm going to just spray some here on the beets as well. Make sure you get the underside of the leaves because that's where the little eggies are. And I'm just going to go through and just pick off the leaves that have the damage. It's not as big a deal for the beets since they are, I'm not really going to eat the tops, but with the spinach I lost a whole bunch of spinach. So the important thing is to catch it early. Cubby dear, have you found Catmint that's moved over here? I think he has. Yeah? As he's drunk on Catmint. So this is the first stage of my replanting project. This is the area that I showed you last week that I had just set up for my melons, my zucchinis, and my pumpkins. The seeds, I think, were either eaten by small creatures or just didn't come up. Probably eaten by small creatures. There's one little zucchini coming up, but the rest are sort of beyond their germination date, so I am going to do some more planting here, and I will just show you how I'm going to do that. Starting over here with the sugar pie pumpkin. So these are the seeds I'm using. They're an organic variety by Botanical Interests. So I'm just going to plant 4 seeds, 2 right here-ish, and 2 right here-ish. So there we go. That's about an inch down. That's what the seeds look like. 2 to break this popsicle stick in half and then just put those in so I know exactly where they're supposed to be coming up. So this is the zucchini bed, and if you can see right down there, a tiny little green thing, the seed coming up. So I'm just going to put one more seed over there. These are the zucchinis I'm using once again. Botanical Interests, Black Beauty zucchini. Let me just show you what the seeds look like. That's the seeds. And they're pretty big for zucchinis. And finally we have the melon I'm doing, as I said last week. It's the Minnesota Midget, the tiny little single serving juicy sweet fruit right down to the rind. And it's a small plant, so it takes up less garden space. Yay, how exciting. So I'll just show you what the seeds look like. Those are the seeds right there. And I'll plant them in the final bed. So originally I planted some sunflowers, 2 different types, probably 2 weeks ago. I planted these, which are called Evening Sun, which were supposed to be my tall ones, which I planted in the flower garden as well as in the vegetable garden where the carrots weren't growing and the radishes were coming up. So I thought it would be nice to have a few tall sunflowers in there. I'll show you in a second where that is, because I'm going to go replant over there, and I'll show you the one sunflower that has come up. There could be more in the flower garden, but I just can't see them because they are amidst the flowers. The other ones that I also put on, which have been good, is this Elves blend, which is a bunch of shorter sunflowers, which I've shown you are growing in that pot with where the basil is. And originally I think I said that those were Evening Sun, but I was mistaken because they are Elves blend, and they are shorter, only 16 to 24 inches tall. And I might plant a couple more of these. Not sure where, but I'm sure I can find a spot for them. And these are coming up really well over in the basil planter, so those are fine. But I didn't have enough tall ones to put in the vegetable garden, so I went out and got some more, and I'm going to plant these ones now. So first things first, this is a sunflower called Mammoth, which is going to be like 12 feet tall. So that's going to be pretty cool if it comes out. And I think this is like a pretty well-known variety. And I'll show you the seeds. There they are. Look how big they are. They're ginormous. And then I also got another variety called Solar Eclipse, just because it looks so pretty. And it's much shorter, only 4 to 5 feet. So I'm probably going to plant 2 rows, a row of the taller ones and a row of the shorter ones over in the vegetable garden. And I think the reason some of them haven't come up is that we've got a lot of birds that come in, and birds that have been used to being fed over the winter. We give them sunflowers and all kinds of seeds here, or my parents do. And so maybe they were digging around in the garden and found some sunflowers, and they were like, oh, this is a tasty delight. So I'll show you the seeds here. See, much smaller. But I'm just gonna take you over to the garden and show you these now. Okay, so here we are in the garden area where I will be planting these sunflowers, and I'll just show you the one tiny baby sunflower that's come up. It's right here. And I'm going to plant the shorter variety here-ish, I think. Down here. Just a couple, I think. And then the larger variety back there. And there we go, all the sunflowers in place. Now I'm going to water everything. You can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. Princess, you can do it. Aww. There, you did it. Good girl. But here's the garden, and I'll take you in and show you just a few things, because I know last week 2 real big garden tours, so not a ton has changed. So I'll just show you the things that look real cool this week. So I want to talk a little bit about these peas. I planted them in March, and it was one of the first things I did, and I did that according to, I told you about a book last week. I named it wrong, but it's Crockett's Victory Garden, and it's kind of an old book, but I've been following it with the peas in particular. And one thing he says to do is, so usually on the packet it's like, put the peas in 1 inch apart or something like that, and then snip off the ones so they're 3 inches apart, something like that. But he tells you to dig a big trench and then sow a bunch of peas across the trench. It's sort of a wide trench. And then instead of using any kind of like pea trellis situation, you just put in a bunch of sticks. So I've recently just put in more sticks because they're getting real tall. But you can see I put in this sort of mini trellis just so that the peas would have something to grow on all along the way. But then there's also just a bunch of sticks holding up most of the peas. I think it's pretty cool, and it's worked pretty well. And I would recommend doing that. And I would recommend my cat staying out of the garden. Ugh, cat problems. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show you is that I have put tomato cages, well, sort of tomato cages, around my tomato plants so that they have some support as they grow. And you can see this guy down here is really growing quite vigorously. This one not as much, but I think this one has a flower on it. And this one over here definitely has a bunch of flowers. Look at that. That's the early girl that I showed you last week. The lettuce is wilting right now because it's in the sun. And I showed you previously the Leafminer that I had in my beets and my spinach, and I thought I had done enough to get rid of it, but here it is back again. So if anybody has suggestions about getting rid of Leafminer in spinach and in beets, I would definitely appreciate it. So here we are down in the row of beans, which earlier this week you saw I replanted a bunch of stuff, but I checked on the beans as well, and I dug up one and it was putting out tiny shoots, so I decided that they had not been eaten. And you can see today, you can see one tiny bean stuck its little head up, and there's a couple more nearby. Ooh, I can see some looking like they're going to come up here, and then I think that is a weed down there, but things are coming up, at least in the green side of the green beans and the yellow beans, so it's very exciting. That just happened today. And then down here, it's only been a couple of days since I replanted, so nothing's coming up except for this one little zucchini plant that I showed you before, so very excited about that. But my biggest success so far this week has to be the potatoes. If you can remember, last week at this time, no potatoes were showing, but now, look at them. Should I get my shadow out of the way? They all have masses of potatoes coming out. Especially this one on the end, which I moved down here so they would be more even. But look how many, how tall they are. It's so exciting. Yep, so we've got potatoes, folks. And to top everything else off, we've got some new flowers to show. We've got this beautiful iris, a red iris coming out right there. And then the thing that I correctly identified as a clematis, or clematis, sounds like clamato to me, is come up. Let me see if I can get you a closer look. There we go. Right down here, the sunflowers, you're doing well. Except for that little one. That one's not doing well at all. So, but we've got plenty of others. And as I said earlier, these are an elves blend, not the evening sun. Over here we have another beautiful iris. And then this, which I think is a Siberian iris. Here we have an Exberry azalea with some beautiful orange flowers. More puppies. All these ones are stuck in here. Hold on. Oh, you know what? They were attacked by this, which is a branch from the flowering dogwood that we had to cut down last night because we thought it was blocking our satellite dish. But as it turns out, the satellite dish is just misaligned, so we don't get MSNBC anymore. For now. So, yep, there's the puppies. As beauteous as always. So that was the garden and the hair adventure. Sorry, just looking at my hair. I just saw myself in the viewfinder. Adventure for week 12. I hope next week treats the garden well. Maybe we'll get a little rain. Maybe the beans will grow a little bit more. That one lonely bean needs some pals. And I hope maybe it won't be quite as warm because it's gonna be the beginning of June and it shouldn't be heatwave central here in Boston. So I want to thank you for watching and hope that you come back for the next one and that you subscribe if you like these garden videos. So, yep, thanks again and I will see you in the next one. Bye now!